All right, hello. Welcome to
Hello.
the March 10th, 2026 LSP Board meeting. I'm Diane Baxter, Chair of the LSP Board. As always, the Board encourages interactive participation. If a member of the public would like to participate in the meeting, please type a question in the chat or raise your hand and Chris will let you speak. I encourage all board members to turn their cameras on and ensure your cell phone is on silent mode. I will now proceed with the roll call to establish who from the board is participating in today's meeting and to confirm quorum. David Austin is not present. Gail Batchelder,
Present.
Kathy Campbell,
Present.
Craig Ellis,
Present.
Kirk Franklin, not present yet. Greg McBride,
I'm here.
great. Paul McKinley,
Present.
Deirdre Manoyo,
Here.
Jamie Smith, not present yet, and Diane Baxter is present. Okay, so with that, we have a quorum. Let's see. So can we also, I guess we don't have people in the room today. We're all online. So I guess that's that. Chris, could you let us know who else from the public is here today?
We have two members of the public, Mary Ellen Morris and Michelle Zelch.
Okay, great. All right. So first up, we have the Continuing Education Committee meeting. And could I turn the chair over to Gail Batchelder?
If Chris will put up the agenda because I can't.
Yep, I'm sharing.
I don't have a hard copy.
Share and there we go.
Okay, great. Okay, call the Continuing Education Committee to order at, I guess it's 12:04. And do we have any announcements?
Nope.
Okay, any additions or deletions or changes to the agenda?
I don't believe so.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Well, that was quick. Okay, so on to new business. Any old business first?
Oh, wait, Gail, you have to do a roll call vote to pass the minutes.
To do the agenda, yes, sorry. I mean to do the minutes. Okay, so call a roll call vote to do the agenda, and this is going to be tricky because I don't have the list of everybody up, but one moment, I will. Okay, so let's start with Diane.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Greg.
Was that a C with a
Yes.
G?
It was a C. It was a C, and now it's a G.
All right.
Yes. I'll do Craig's. Yes.
And Greg is here also. Votes yes.
Okay, Deirdre.
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay. So the meeting minutes are approved. New business. We have a course approval request from the Rhode Island Society of Environmental Professionals. The title of the course is Construction Dewatering for Environmental Professionals. Do we have any discussion? Anything, or do we want? Does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Okay. I guess we'll move to a vote. And I'm going to do this separately because they are two different entities. So roll call vote again. Let's start with Kathy.
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Greg with a C,
Yes.
Greg.
Yes.
Let's see, did I skip anyone? I don't think so. And I'm yes. Oh, Deirdre, I forgot you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the request is approved for 4 continuing education credits from Rhode Island Society of Environmental Professionals. So the second course approval request is from the Environmental Business Council of New England. It is to approve the EBC 7th Annual PFAS Seminar. They're requesting 4 continuing education credits. Is there a motion to approve?
So
So
moved.
Second.
And okay, second. Okay, I'll call a vote. Deirdre,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and I noticed Jamie has just joined.
I have, yes.
Did you hear the what we were voting on? Or no?
I did.
Okay. Are you voting yes or no?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I am a yes. Okay, so we've got that taken care of. And now course reapproval request from the LSPA for the remediation roundtable, modern remediation in practice, tools and technologies, shaping cleanup approaches. It will be for 4 credits and in person at the LSPA symposium. And I guess it's just an instructor change for that from Nick Castingay to Ernest Ashley.
Motion to
Do I have a
approve?
motion? Okay.
Second.
All right. Starting at, let's see, Deirdre,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. The course is approved for, I think it's 4 credits. Another reoffering from Mass DEP course 1902, PFAS by method 1633, a new CAM protocol. This is for 1.5 credits. It will be for an on-demand offering. And it was a previously approved course that was presented in person last year at the symposium at the Sheraton. So do I have a motion to approve?
I don't think you need to approve it. This is
Oh,
just a
you
reoffering
don't?
of a previously approved course.
No, it's because it's an on-demand one this time.
But it was approved for on demand.
Oh, it was.
It was
Yeah, so
approved for both.
Oh, okay. Then why are we just? This
it's
is just
just a
a notice.
reoffering.
Then.
It's just a
Just a,
notice. Yeah.
okay. All right, then. I guess the future meeting is scheduled already for April 14th, 2026, and I think we can adjourn the continuing education meeting
All
at
right.
9:10.
12:10.
Sorry, my computer's on California time. I apologize.
Okay, so next up is the Professional Conduct Committee meeting. I'd like to turn the chair over to Jamie Smith, please.
Sure. Just give me one moment. Okay, I'll call the Professional Conduct Committee meeting to order at 12:11. Or 9:11 Gail's time. Are there any announcements or changes to the agenda today?
No.
Okay, hearing none, a review of the February 10th minutes. Are there any proposed changes, or is there a motion to approve as written?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Yes is approving the minutes. Kathy,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and Jamie's a yes. The minutes are hereby approved. Moving on to old business. I turn that over to you, Terry.
There's no old business.
Okay.
Wow.
Is there any new business?
No new business.
Well, this
Wow.
might be the world's shortest meeting. Next one is April 14th hybrid. And with no old or new business to discuss, we will adjourn.
All right. 3 minutes. That might be a record.
I don't think we'll ever break that one.
All right. So we're on to the regular board meeting. Call to order at 12:13. I do not have any announcements. Terry, anything for you?
Nope, nothing for me.
Okay, and I assume no changes to the agenda. So we'll adopt that. Okay, review of the draft minutes. Does anyone have any comments on the draft minutes to February's meeting? Or a motion to approve as written?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, a roll call. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and Diane is a yes. Okay, next, we had scheduled an update on our online platform from Sneha Kalagaria. Is she
Yes.
here? Okay.
Yes. Hold on.
Sneha is the
I'm going
business.
to, yes.
Sneha is the Senior Business Analyst and Project Manager for the Massachusetts Energy Environmental Information and Public Access System, which we call IPASS. And she's focusing on the e-permitting and e-licensing team. Sneha, welcome.
Hello. Hello, members of the board. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm here to provide some update in regards with the system. So we are almost 3 months into the annual fee. So I just want to say we have received like 89% of the annual fees as of today, and 91% are through online payments. We still have 21 pending payments. And the next thing I wanted to discuss is the recent renewal credit changes as part of regulations. Our team has successfully implemented all the renewal changes, the instructions. We worked actively with the LSP team. And as of a week ago, end of February, all the changes are deployed to the production. And for the current renewals, those changes will be effective. So in terms of the renewals, this will be one of the shortest renewals throughout the year. So we only have 17 LSPs who needs to renew. 15 of them are already have submitted the renewals, and we're just waiting on 12. Another update in regards with the exam pass notification that we have implemented last week is once the exams are approved, the applicants will now receive a detailed letter outlining their next steps of providing further instructions on how they can register within the LSP system. There are not many issues identified, which is great. Any feedback I can take from any public or like the board, which I can take it back to the team, please let me know.
So sounds great. Thanks for your continued work on this.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda is decisions regarding licensing of applicants. First, Matt, could you present the application review panel docket?
Yep, we have 4 applicants to consider today. The docket's in front of you there. The first one on the list is Patrice Plant, number 9449. Application review panel number 364, which was members Ellis, Minoyo, and Batchelder, reviewed this application. The applicant is a standard track candidate, Bachelor of Science degree in 2004. Applicant claimed 21 plus years of total experience, with 11 years of that being relevant professional experience. The ARP met on February 23rd to review and discuss the application. The ARP felt that the applicant had a good career progression from total professional experience and then into relevant professional experience. The ARP noted that the applicant demonstrated a wide range of experience in contaminants and diversity of project work. The professional references confirmed the applicant's roles, project work, and duration of relevant professional experience. With that, the ARP recommended that Ms. Plant be approved to take the exam. So back to the board for a vote.
Okay. I move to, well, is there any discussion first? All right. I move to accept the recommendation from the ARP.
Second.
All right. And let's see, roll call. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yep.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, back to you, Matt.
Yep. Next one on the list is Matthew McCullough, number 7114. Application review panel number 363, which was members Franklin, Campbell, and McKinley. This applicant is a standard track candidate, Bachelor of Science degree in 1984 and a master's degree in 1985. Applicant is a professional engineer licensed in 4 states. This applicant claimed 40 plus years of total experience with 31 plus years of relevant professional experience. The ARP met on February 24th to review and discuss this application. The ARP indicated the applicant was well qualified with decades of experience as a principal decision maker at diverse and complex sites. This applicant has served as a business owner for many years with final decision-making authority. So with that, the ARP recommended that Mr. McCullough be approved to take the exam.
All
Back to the
right.
board.
Any discussion or questions for Matt?
Sounds like an RPE record.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendations of this ARP.
Second.
All right, and we'll do a roll call. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yep.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and Diane is a yes. Back to
Okay,
you,
next
Matt.
one, Sebastian Rodriguez, number 6270. Application review panel number 362, which was members Franklin, Campbell, and Austin. This applicant is a standard track candidate with a Bachelor of Science degree in 2015. This applicant claimed 10 years of total experience with 7 plus years of relevant professional experience. The ARP met on February 24th to review and discuss this application. And they also met again on February 27th to further discuss certain items. The applicant had claimed much of his relevant professional experience in his role at EPA, and the ARP did struggle to ascertain the applicant's independent decision-making experience. However, two of the RPE projects did not involve the site owner or a private consultant, and EPA completed the work directly. And this applicant demonstrated independent decision-making experience on those projects. The ARP felt that there was enough independent decision-making in waste site cleanup activities to demonstrate the minimum requirement for a relevant professional experience. The professional references confirm the applicant's experience and work on MCP sites. So with that, the ARP recommended that Mr. Rodriguez be approved to take the exam.
Okay, any discussion? All right,
A motion to approve?
Second.
very good. Let's see. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and I need to recuse. Okay, last one,
One
Matt.
more, Alan McLeavy, number 7165. Application review panel number 365, which was members Smith, McBride, and Baxter. This applicant is a standard track candidate with a Bachelor of Science degree in 2003. Applicant is a professional engineer licensed in 5 states. This applicant claimed 22 years of total experience, with 16 plus years of that being relevant professional experience. The ARP met on March 6th, last Friday, to review and discuss this application. The ARP indicated that the applicant was well qualified with many years of senior level experience in decision-making, as highlighted in his current role as technical director of the firm. With that, the ARP recommended that Mr. McLeavy be approved to take the exam.
All right, any discussion?
Motion to
All right.
approve.
Second?
Second.
All right, and a vote. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, next up is renewal applications. Natasha? Nothing?
So actually, we have a total of 8 LSPs and a total of 4 dockets for today.
All right. And, all right, let's see. Can you bring those up, Chris? So let's see, we have, the first one is for regular renewal for April 30th of this year. We have five LSPs renewing. Any discussion?
Motion to approve for renewal docket 1.
Second.
Okay, and roll call. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and Diane, yes. Okay, next docket is for a previously lapsed LSP. Renewal date was 1/30/2026, and the new expiration date will be 4/30/2029.
Can I ask a question as to why if they've been when they start now, does that they renew as of the April 30th, but what does that mean in terms of their lapsed status? Because it looks like shouldn't it go back to the 1/30 date for this situation?
I can try to answer that. They're lapsed as of today, and then if you approve them, then they become active. So yeah, it's not a 90-day extension where you would revert them back to January 30th. They're lapsed, and anybody who submits a renewal after their lapse, they get extended, and it's the 30th of the quarter, the month of the quarter, and they had 3 years. So April 30th plus 3 years would be their new renewal period.
So they get a month extra in a couple of weeks, like 6 weeks extra.
They do, but they were lapsed for a period of time too.
Oh, but when did it? But it only lapsed on January 30th, right?
Right.
So they were lapsed for the month of February, so a month and a half.
Yeah, I sort of thought that was the one that fit into the previous renewal date category, but
Well, if they had enough credits to submit for a 90-day extension back in January, they could have been part of that group that we talked about last month.
yep.
But we just received a renewal application a couple of weeks ago, so we don't know what they had for credits as of January 30th.
In any case, he wasn't practicing.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at the regs, and Matt's right. I mean, that's what the regs say for people that are lapsed. So a license that is renewed during the year after it is lapsed shall run for 3 years from the 30th of January, April, July, or October, whichever date is or occurs soonest after the date the board
Okay.
approves the license renewal. So that's what the regs require.
Okay.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve docket 2?
So moved.
Second,
All right, and a roll call vote. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and Diana's a yes. Next, we have docket number 3, which is also a previously lapsed person. And so the renewal date would have been last year, 4/30, and now it will, again, following those same rules, be 4/30/2029. Any discussion? Motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and Diana's a yes. And finally, we have renewal docket number 4, which again is another previously lapsed on 10/30/25. So again, following those same rules, 4/30/2029 is the new expiration date. Any discussion or a motion to approve?
I guess
So moved.
And did we get a second there?
Second.
Okay. Gail,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Jamie,
yes.
and Diane is a yes. All right, so that's all of the dockets. Next, we have renewal status report. Matt, could you give us that?
Sure. Just quickly, so the next renewal date, as we mentioned, is April 30th. As thing I had mentioned, there's 17 LSPs that are in that group. So we had a few LSPs approved for renewal moments ago, and the rest are due April 30th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Other renewal-related matters? I don't think we have any. Other licensing-related matters. Matt, could you talk to us about scheduling of future ARPs?
Sure. Well, before we do, the status of an open ARP for Nicholas Guidi. That's ARP number 359, members McKinley, Franklin, and Smith. This ARP met on February 6th to review and discuss his application. They had questions, needed some things clarified. So the application was sent back to the applicant requesting more information, which is still pending. We do have a new applicant, Natalie Burgo. 6221 is the number assigned. She works for US EPA. This would be ARP number 366, and looking for volunteers to review this application.
I'm happy to help out, Matt. It's Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Yep, I can as well.
I need
Okay.
to recuse on this one.
Okay.
I can do one.
Is that you,
Deirdre.
Deirdre? Thank you. Once we get all the professional reference forms received, I'll send you all the information and we'll schedule a call to review and discuss. Thank you.
Right, thanks. Natasha, could you give us the inactive status report?
Sure, thank you. So total number of inactive is 2. For our current number of active LSPs, we have 386. For our recent retired LSPs, we have the following list. For February 2026, we have Lewis Streeter, 6466, David McLean, 9056, Selwyn Morgan, 6544, and Samuel Butcher, 9185. And for our annual fees report, final payment reminders were sent out March 4th via e-place notification. LSPs have 30 days from the date listed on their invoice to make payment or face suspension. Payment can be made via e-place accounts using either the pay online or pay by mail option. If using a pay by mail option, please be sure to include your LSP number on your check, as this will ensure your account is credited properly. Thank you.
All right, very good, thanks. So next is exams.
I'll give a short update on exams. So the LSP exam is next scheduled to be held on April 8th, 9th, and 10th. And with the 4 applicants that were approved today, there are a total of 20 approved applicants who could take the exam. As of yesterday, 11 of those had signed up already for a slot. And the other ones still have time to sign up. And that's it.
Right. Continuing Education Committee. Gail, could you report out on that?
I think so. The committee approved a 4-credit course from I forgot who the provider is, Rhode Island Environmental Professionals Organization. The EBC 4-credit approval for PFAS, and 1 approval from the LSPA for a 4-credit course at the symposium. And we also, that was just for a change of speaker, I'm sorry. And then the last one was just, didn't need approval. It was just notification that there's an on-demand version of a 1.5 credit course from the symposium last year.
Great, thank you. Jamie, could you give us the Professional Conduct Committee report?
Other than approving last month's minutes, there was no old or new business to discuss.
right. Next item on the agenda is regulations. Terry, do you have anything to report?
Yes. So in the packet, there was a draft Q&A document, and actually yesterday we sent an updated version of that, and I think Chris can put that on the screen. That's what we have to discuss today.
Very good.
So if you recall, as we were putting together the regs, there was one question in particular that came up that we decided that we would deal with after, not within the body of the regulations, but would give some guidance as to how we interpret the reg, and that had to do with the requirement that LSPs answer polling questions while they're in attendance at a live webinar. And so I drafted a proposed response to that. Matt and I drafted it. And in doing so, I realized that there were a few additional questions that we should address. So we took a stab at what the response would look like. But one of the questions is, so for example, say somebody doesn't answer the polling question within the time allotted in the course, at when that particular question is given to the attendees to, click and answer. What do we do about that? And so this is drafted that it allows the attendee to either email or respond in the chat if they miss that time, and that would count as long as it was before the course ends. But then I was thinking, does the board think there should be a limit on how many questions can be answered that way? Like if you miss one or two, but what if you miss all of them? If it's a longer class and there's 5 or more questions, should we have some sort of limit on that? And also there could be that situation of somebody missing the time just because they're thinking and they don't click in time. But there also could be somebody who has generally a technical issue and can't answer any of the polling questions because there's a technical issue. So anyway, those are some of the things that I think we should deal with in this answer. And I don't know if people want to have any comments about whether we limit, the number of questions somebody can answer outside of the window given within the course. Another question I had is, if they don't respond to the instructor before the course ends, are they out of luck? Do we want the course provider to provide anything to us when any of these situations happen? Can they just approve the person? Anyway, so those are the kinds of questions to deal with in this response.
I'll jump in as somebody who has missed a polling question and sent an email to the course provider. The course provider was busy executing the course, and I did not hear back from them during the extent of the course. I received an email back like the next day. So I was able to resolve it, and they were able to see that I resolved it, and all was well. So I guess what I would say is we don't want to be so strict, or try to imagine every possible scenario as to how many are missed. I think that's going farther than we want to as a body of reasonable people. That we just say, here's what we would like to allow the course providers to be able to execute and finish their courses and move on with their lives.
So Kathy, in your case, there was a technical difficulty that you weren't able to answer the questions?
Yeah, it just happened. Something happened fast and I missed like by a second, but it was just too late.
Yeah, I have to agree with Kathy. I've done the same thing, but frankly, if you miss more than one, you're not really engaged in the course. But I think leaving it to the course provider to interact with the individual who's taking the course and leave it at that But it is certainly easy to miss it. And it almost doesn't matter if you answer the question correctly, because you just need to hit the button and show them that you're there. So it's not a matter of parsing through technical issues. It's if you're paying attention. It's really what it comes down to.
And if we make
I
it so strict, people will just hit any answer to make sure that they have a recorded answer. And then you're not
Agreed.
thinking about the question, you're not thinking about the right answer. You're just hitting a button.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't provide the provider with any. I mean, sometimes it's useful feedback to a provider. If you get mixed answers, like half the people got it wrong, then you may want to go back and sort of revise, something that you said in there because it wasn't clear. But I know that the times that I just had to do one for the new regulations in Connecticut. For the last few weeks, we've been doing this, and I will tell you that there's so many times when you are thinking about it, and you could easily miss that time, and
Yeah.
you could miss two. You could easily miss two in a one session.
Yeah.
Partly because you're actually trying to answer the question correctly. I mean, most people, I think, are diligent and want to see if they know it, see if they learned anything. So I'd be uncomfortable putting restrictions on situations, except that if somebody answers no polling questions and it's not a technical issue, I think that's the only circumstance in which I would want something done.
I think we're very much on the same wavelength. So how do we provide feedback? Is it at the no more than half of the questions can be missed and at the discretion of the provider, or is there some sort of language that we can offer here to give guidance?
I think we leave it to the discretion of the provider, as Kathy stated initially. I think that, again, from my own experience, sending an email or letting them know in the chat, it gets picked up, and it doesn't have to be resolved at that moment. But as long as it's resolved after the fact, and you've made it, you've taken an action to notify them that you had a problem.
Right.
Maybe it could
I think
be,
that's the most important thing, is that the person doing the course has to at least let the provider know they saw the question. Like I was aware that there were questions, I couldn't get to them, or there was a technical difficulty or something, but to not respond at all, I that's the place where I think somebody has to step in and say, then you're not paying attention. I say that knowing that when you do in-person courses, and I used to have to, when I was proctor, kind of especially in the early days, there are people reading newspapers. There are people nowadays reading email, reviewing reports, paying no attention to what's going on. I mean, except peripherally, because they're engaged in their computer. So we
Yeah.
don't have any restriction on that. So that's my problem with doing the same thing with an online course.
yeah. So leave it up to the discretion of the provider to to confirm that, or to ascertain whether the person taking the course has been engaged with the course. I mean, would you say something like that?
Yes.
Has engaged enough to be able to respond and say, I missed these questions. I don't care how they, something like that. I do think it's appropriate, if somebody misses all the questions, to call their attention into, to call into question whether they've been paying the least bit of attention. But as I said, I have watched people pay no attention during an in-person course.
Yeah, same.
Well, they would also have to be paying enough attention to know that they had actually missed a question, right?
Exactly.
Good point.
Exactly.
So, do you want to leave like the response that I drafted, which basically is saying if somebody misses questions, they just need to alert the course provider either by chat or by email before the end of the course that they missed a question, and then the course provider can issue an attendance form. Like, are you okay with this? Because it's basically just saying, as long as the person lets the course provider know that there was a problem and they answer the question in another way, they're good.
They don't have to even answer I mean, the truth is, if you realize you missed a question, you're not going to be able to answer it. is the bottom line. So
Right.
it isn't a question of being able to answer it. It's just that you let them know I missed a question or something like that. It's the only way you can do it, because they won't have they will not have,
Right.
they can answer, but it won't mean anything. You'll just say anything.
Okay,
So-
so I could change the language. The board consider it acceptable for the LSP to answer, or let the course provider know they were unable to answer using the chat function or emailing prior to the end of the course. Like I could
Yeah.
add
Yeah,
something. like-
nothing extended past the end of the course, though.
Okay.
They have to alert as it's happening.
Right.
And then
yeah.
we
Oh,
could,
that's really important. Yeah. Yeah.
we could add like another sentence that's saying if there are any other unusual situations where the course provider is unsure, they can always consult board staff or something. I could add a sentence like that if
Yeah.
you want. Okay.
That can't hurt.
Okay. All right. So I'll make the minor tweaks to this that we discussed, and we won't talk about number of questions or anything like that.
And Terry, in that last sentence, if the LSP answers the polling question, we're not asking like they don't actually have to answer the polling questions, right? So
Yeah.
when you reword that, it's going to be,
Yeah.
the attendance form can be issued at the provider's discretion, after
I'll use
notification from the
answer
LSP.
the question or communicate or something. Like I'll add something.
Okay.
Okay. The next one is there was some existing guidance on what an assessment of learning should look like for an on-demand course. Now the regs don't stipulate what the assessment of learning needs to include, so we can't enforce anything in that regard because it's not in the regs. But there had been some guidance about the number of questions that should be offered during an on-demand course based on the length of the course. So I'm just here reiterating what I understand to be the existing guidance, which I guess was, I wasn't here when the board discussed this in the past. But I also wanted to note that the way it's written, that there's a higher number of questions on an assessment of learning compared to polling questions for a live webinar. And the LSPA has noted that they think that's a bit unfair for people that are taking on-demand courses to have more questions to answer than if they were taking the live webinar version. And it's asked us to reconsider that. So this is just an iteration of the existing guidance as we understand it to be, and then a question about whether you want to keep it the same or whether you want to alter it.
I'm fine with our current approach. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between having a live course, even if it is a webinar format, and having a completely, offline version.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that we wanted to have a more robust assessment of learning.
And the fact that because it's on demand, you can go back and check to see if you need to get the answer right.
Yeah, and you have to allow the course provider has to allow you to retake it as many times as you need to get 70%.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't see any issue with the way we're currently doing it, and your suggestions here in terms of the number of questions that are sufficient seem fine to me.
Yeah, the only question I had with that, I mean, I'm okay with it, but the only question was for a 1 hour course. I'm not sure 5 questions seems legit. That seems too much for like a 1 or 1.5 hour course.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Like maybe you'd want to say, 3 to 5 questions, or maybe, I don't know, 1 an hour.
Or separate it out by like, okay, a lot of courses might be 2 hours. So maybe they have like 3 questions for 2 hours. That's about the same as what we have for the polling questions, actually. But 5 questions for an hour seems
and
too
10
much.
for 10 for 4 hours seems a little bit long too. Well,
Yeah,
what do we
it
do?
does.
So it's usually an hour. Is it usually 1 per hour for polling questions?
No, we have it in the regs, right? How many they have to be?
Yeah. I have to look it up. I don't remember.
I thought it was 1 for every half an hour, but
That's what I thought. It was closer to
maybe
1 to
that's
every
right.
half hour.
Yeah,
I mean, for a 1 hour course, if there's a 70% a requirement to pass, like four seems the magic number. So you can miss one question and still, if you get three right, you're hunky dory.
That's a good pull. That's a good
That's
point,
right.
Paul.
Yeah. So it seems like if we're giving guidance, 4 questions in an hour might be a magic number, but it's just suggestion.
That seems like a lot to me. I know you're trying to do the
That
math
does seem like a lot.
because they have to teach a course, and an hour is not a lot of time.
Well, no, the assessment of learning is different. It's not the polling questions.
Is it
it's
after?
the
After
yeah.
the course?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's just by the end of the class. They just have to take the test on their
okay.
own, you know.
Got it.
And remember, they can go back if they need to. So,
Yeah, you
Okay.
can go back and look. So even if you had 2 questions for 1 hour, you could still, I mean, you'd ultimately need 100%, but you can go
But you
back
can
and
go
look pretty
back.
easy.
So,
Yep.
but 2 questions, I would say for an hour, it's only 2 questions, but everything else is 5. That would be my suggestion. It means when you have to go back to answer the question, the good thing is that you have to review the material. So you're now probably paying more attention than you did if you were doing email during a course.
what about
So-
if we do it as 2 questions for the first hour and 1 question for each additional hour?
That would give us 3 for a 2-hour course. So I don't know that.
That's exactly what we have for live webinars for the polling
Right.
questions. That's the
That's what
same.
I'm thinking that would be the best thing to do is stick to sort of what we have for the polling questions, but these are different. This is different because it's not a polling question exactly. It's a question at the end that you need to answer. But it is the same assessment of learning kind of thought process.
I mean, and you know, like for the kind we have required training at the state, and we have to answer questions to be able to pass. I mean, it's not going to take very long to answer the questions. So I don't think it's burdensome that way. I think there might be a burden in terms of the course provider coming up with good questions, but I don't think it's going to take that much longer for the person taking the class to answer 2 versus 5 questions.
Oh, it might if you have to go back.
Well, then they weren't paying attention.
That's right. No, but I mean, sometimes you do. If the person asks a good question and it's an interesting subject that you don't know, you could easily have to go back and look. I'm not saying I object to that. It means you learn it, but
maybe
mission accomplished.
that's right. No, I'm not objecting.
Then you might get more out of the class. So
that's right. That's what I'm saying. I don't actually object except for the hour. I think 5 for an hour's course is a lot.
All right, so why don't we just say a total of 3 to 5 for the 1 to 3 hours, depending on total length or something like that. And then 7 to 10 for 4 to 8.
Yeah.
Sounds fair.
You meant 1 to 4 when you said that. You said 1 to 3, but you meant 1 to 4, right?
Oh, yes. Well, no, I'm looking at, for example, 4 courses, 1 to 3 hours long.
Oh. Well, what about 1 to 4 hours? Oh, and then 4 to
4 to 8.
Oh, yeah, okay. I guess that's right. Yep.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind having to. I actually the one course that I did it was a beta course. I was testing it, but it was it actually the person asked very detailed questions, and I had to go back, review the material, but I didn't mind it because I actually learned it. It's like, well, I have to learn this to be able to answer this question, and that wasn't a bad thing.
And also, we can't enforce this because we didn't put any requirements about the number of questions in the reg. So this is just, guidance. Just we think this would be a good idea, but we can't make people do it. So I can definitely change it to if it's a 1 to 3 hour course, we recommend 3 to 5 questions depending on the course length. And for a 48-hour course, 7 to 10 questions depending on the course length. Is that generally the consensus?
Yeah,
sure.
Are the providers typically giving us the number of questions that they're proposing to include with their materials when they submit? Guess that's
Yeah,
a
so
question
the
for Matt.
on-demand course requests they'll specify the number of assessment and learning questions they're going to have. They don't give us the actual questions, but they do
No, right.
specify the number. Yep.
So is that the consensus that we'll change it to be a range of, instead of a total, a range of questions for?
Yeah, I like the range.
I think that solves our problem nicely.
Yeah, I agree.
And they'll be telling us because they're requesting. If you say it's in the approval request, then we'll know how many.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I just wanted to see if that was consistently part of the package they were submitting.
Okay, it sounds like we have I can amend that answer to be a range of question number instead of a hard number. So then the last question is, this has already come up. So because the new regs now allow LSPs to apply 6 CE credits that they earned during the last 6 months of a license renewal that they didn't need to renew their license. The question was, how do they deal with that in their application? So we would prefer them to make it clean and easier to implement, that if they have extra credits that they don't need for their renewal, to not list them on their renewal, but to hold them. So this would just be to let people know that that's how they should proceed. So I don't know if people have any comments on this drafted response.
No, that was a good solution.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay, so I can make the edits we discussed today to these, and there's already an existing Q&A continuing ed document on the website. So we can add these questions to that and make sure that it's in the appropriate places on the website. So both LSPs and course providers can see these questions, and maybe even separately let the course providers know that we've come up with this for the polling questions and the assessment of learning. All right, so I think we're done with this topic.
Thanks for doing that, Terry.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really helpful for everyone, I think.
Yeah. Okay, the next item on the agenda is report from recent quasi-judicial session. I'll give that. At a quasi-judicial session held on January 13th, 2026, the CRT members for complaint 24C02, Mr. Austin, present in person, and Mr. Franklin, present remotely, and Ms. Wood, present in person, presented the terms of proposed early settlement that, if approved, would resolve this complaint prior to the presentation of a CRT report or the issuance of an order to show cause. During the presentation, the LSP's name was not disclosed. The other members of the board who were present were as follows: Gail Batchelder, Kathy Campbell, Greg McBride, Paul McKinley, and Jamie Smith were present remotely. Board members absent were Mr. Ellis and Ms. Manoyo. Board member Diane Baxter was recused, so was also not present. CRT members briefly explained that they had been investigating both A, the allegations presented in the complaint that focused on one site, and B, possible violations at 2 additional sites. The CRT's preliminary assessment prior to a CRT report of the LSP's work at these sites had been presented in writing to the board prior to the quasi-judicial session. The CRT members said that they had not yet fully concluded their investigation or drafted a CRT report. Nevertheless, they said they had substantially completed their investigation and had formed enough of an opinion to join with the respondent LSP in presenting a joint proposed early settlement for the board's review and approval. The proposed settlement was that the LSP's license would be suspended for 18 months. At the conclusion of the discussion, a motion was made and seconded to accept the terms of the proposed agreement, with the additional requirement that the LSP complete a particular continuing education course prior to the end of the 18-month suspension period. The 5 board members present who were not on the CRT and were not recused approved the motion unanimously. Thereafter, the respondent LSP signed an administrative consent order. The suspension of the LSP's license began on March 1st, 2026. Throughout this discussion, the respondent's name was kept confidential. Now that this complaint has been resolved, the LSP's name, Bruce Hoskins, is being made public. And that is the end of the report from Quasi. Next up on the agenda is updating the board website. Terry?
I'll give an update there. So we've updated the website to reflect all the recent regulation changes, like the updated continuing education credit requirements. We've also moved things that were hidden on the website and tried to make everything easier to find. And we're almost done. I have a few minor tweaks of things where I think the English is a little weird, but most everything is done. So that should be completed within the next couple weeks. Everything should be the way that we think looks okay. So hopefully it'll be much easier for people to navigate and find everything that they need.
Great. Thank you. Could you also report on personnel budget and fees?
Yeah, the only thing I have to report is that the budget process for fiscal year 2027 has started. So far, the governor has issued a draft budget. In that draft budget, the LSP board was awarded $386,897, which is down a little bit from our fiscal year 2026 amount, which was $394,154. The budget still needs to go through the House, the Senate, and then come up with the final number. So this is just preliminary, but even if it was that slightly lower number, it should be fine. We can do what we need to do.
Okay, great. Let's see, number 16 on the agenda is status of board member vacancies. I'm sorry to report that we had a candidate, and unfortunately, ultimately, that the candidate decided for our vacant seat decided to not put their name forward. So we are back in the hunt for another board member for an environmental seat. If anyone has any, knows anyone, has any suggestions, we're all ears. Let's see. Other business? Terry, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay, well, with that, our next meeting is April 14th, 2026, and we can adjourn at 1:05 p.m. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.